voice is clear? Is my voice is clear? My voice is clear?
Voice is not audible.
My voice is clear now?
Yeah, bit okay.
Okay, just a minute. Okay, it will come clear. So today we are going to
Yes.
discuss whatever the contents we are going to discuss in the AWS Solutions Architect class.
Okay.
Briefly, I will explain each and every chapter what we are going to learn AWS Solutions Architect.
Yeah.
So now voice is very clear or not?
It's clear.
Okay.
Hello, sir. Sachin here. Hello.
Sachin, tell me, Sachin.
Yes, sir. Voice is clear, but it seems to be very low. For other members, is it
For
bit
other
louder?
members, is it okay? Is it okay?
No, it's a clear, but it's very low.
Very low. It will come. It will take some time. 1, 2, 3, 8, 10 seconds. It will come.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Take while. Now is it clear now?
Somewhat louder from earlier.
Now is it clear?
Yes, sir. Now it is absolutely fine.
Yeah. So it will take some time after connecting to the GoToMeeting. So today we are going to discuss about the contents which we are going to discuss about the AWS. So everybody can understand Amazon EC2 instances. First chapter we are going to discuss. So what are the EC2 instances? What are the EC2 benefits? Use cases? What are the features? What are the instance types? See, simply remember only one point. You have a laptop, you have a operating system, either Windows or Linux, whatever it may be. Physically, you installed in your laptop. You are every day you are using your operating system. So this is 10 years back when there is no virtualization technology. We are calling as a physical infrastructure. So physical hardware, top of the physical hardware, you install your Windows OS or Linux OS. So you are using Windows or Linux, that is the physical OS. So that is physical infrastructure. So 10 years back, we are in the virtualization environment. In virtualization environment, so no need to use your physical hardware. I'm just showing you VMware workstation I installed here. So top of my operating system, whatever the Windows OS is there, I installed one VMware workstation software. So top of that VMware workstation, I installed this much of operating systems: RHL6, Red Hat Linux, 8 AM batch, 930 batch, Windows Server, Windows backup servers, night batch, whatever it may be. So I can have number of Linux virtual machines or number of Windows MCSE batches I am having. So these machines I created. So depending upon the batch, I can power on that machine, I can work. See, I am not by any machine here. See, by using the virtualization software, I installed so many machines ready-made. Just I can click on this, for example, RHL 680 AM batch. So I can power on this machine. Now see, one operating system is booting. See, this is the Linux OS is booting. See, my base OS is safe. My Windows OS, my laptop, I have the Windows OS. But I, without disturbing my laptop hard disk, top of the Windows OS, I installed the VMware workstation. Top of that, I created number of machines. So depending upon my classes, I can power on that machines. So this is the virtualization technology. So after virtualization technology, the cloud computing came. So without a virtualization, there is no cloud. So yesterday also I already told you. So we launched one machine ready-made. So Linux machine or Windows Server machines. So we just launched within 1 minute. They are booted. So we are working with the operating systems. So how it is possible means top of the virtualization only we are having the cloud in computing. So in interview point of view, if anybody asks you the question, without a virtualization, there is no cloud. Without a virtualization, no cloud environment is there. So top of the virtualization, see here. Just I'm going to explain you because you have to know everything. What is physical infrastructure? What is virtual infrastructure? See, this is physical infrastructure. So earlier days, 10 years back. So you have a physical machines. So on top of the physical machine, you install the OS. Top of that, you are using the applications. So physical network, physical storage, physical sharing NFS storage or networks, fiber channel. This is for SAN. This is physical infrastructure. So I will give the simple example to you. For example, you are utilizing your laptop every day. You can go to task manager. You can check your memory resources, how much they are utilizing. So CPU resources only 44% is utilizing, memory 36% is utilizing, disk 23% is utilizing. But I bought the laptop by spending the 30,000 rupees. Out of 30,000 rupees, how much you are getting the resources? Only. So see here, no 50% is also not there here. So what about the remaining resources? Wasting the resources. So wasting the resources is nothing but a wasting the money. So I bought 30,000 rupees laptop, but my CPU resource is only 23% it is using. Even excuse me, Acrobat is running, Google Chrome is running, GoToMeeting is running, Word is running, Task Manager, VMware Workstation is running. So many processes are running, but utilization percentage is only 28-29%. Remaining 70% resources are utilizing, but the CPU cost is 8,000 rupees. CPU cost is, sorry, processor. CPU nothing but a processor cost is 8,000. So 30% only utilizing, wasting the resources. I have 8 GB RAM. Only 36% only utilizing. Remaining is wasting the resources. So hard disk, I have 1 terabyte disk. Only 3%, 4% is utilizing nowadays, now at present. So wasting the resources is nothing but a wasting the money. So if I start a company, I spend 50 lakhs rupees, 100 servers I bought, but for only 50% resources only utilizing. So out of 50 lakhs investment, actual utility is only 25 lakhs. So wasting the resources is nothing but a wasting the money. That is the reason virtualization enter into the environment. So what is virtualization? So virtualization is a technology. It transforms your hardware into software. So whatever my physical resources are there, I am utilizing virtually. This is nothing but a workstation. See, whatever my physical resources are there, they are wasting. That is the reason I installed VMware workstation. Here I install Linux operating system. So whatever the wasting resources are there, I share it to my VMware machine. So I am utilizing VMware, Linux operating system, Windows operating systems I installed. So I can utilize the complete resources because of virtualization. So top of the virtualization, you are going to implement the cloud. So now you can see this is physical infrastructure. See, this is virtual infrastructure. You have a ESXi server. So remember all the cloud people, you must understand where your cloud is located. So 50-60% of the people, they cannot understand where the cloud implemented. Cloud implemented on virtual environment only. So cloud environment, AWS or Microsoft, they have physical servers. The physical servers, they install the VMware softwares like VMware vSphere hypervisor or Citrix Zen servers. Top of that, they will build the machines. So this machine you are launching. So understand. So whatever the ready-made machines I configured here, just through cloud you are launching that. That is ready-made. You are just launching. You are utilizing depending upon your requirement. So who can provide that requirements? Virtual environment VMware administrators, they can do all the work. So top of the VMware, they can install the cloud. Through cloud software, you are launching your machines. That is nothing but a EC2 instance. Launching the instance means that is ready-made. See, this is ready-made. So I installed VMware workstation. Top of that, I have number of operating systems ready-made. These are. So Windows Server 2016, I can select this one. So I can power on this. Means this is nothing but a launching. So launching the instance, nothing but a already ready-made software is there. Just I am launching, I am using. So cloud people will provide this resources to you. So you can see this is virtual infrastructure. So physical machine, physical hardware. Top of the hardware, you can install VMware vSphere software. So top of that, I am creating the virtual machines. So these are my servers. So I can share my resources. So any resource, physical RAM, I have 8 GB RAM. I can power on 4 machines. This 8 GB RAM shared for 2 GB, 2 GB, 2 GB to 4 machines. Network card I can share. Now see, this is the file system layouts. Who can have the knowledge on Windows Server Administration, Linux Server Administration. So we have to the drive concepts in Windows, but in Unix or Linux file system tree structure we are having. So this is cloud. See, top of the virtualization. So cloud is implemented. How vSphere fits, but here vSphere cloud is there, but how vSphere fits on into cloud computing. So this is the physical infrastructure servers. Top of the physical infrastructure servers, we created virtual machines. Top of the virtual machines, we implemented the cloud. Through cloud computing, you are launching the instances. So remember, launching the instance is nothing but you are powering on your operating system. Remember that point. So in AWS terminology, we are calling as a EC2 instance. In Microsoft Azure terminology, we are calling as a VM, GCP also VM. VM is nothing but a virtual machines. So what is virtual machine? Somebody they will ask the question. Virtual machine is nothing but a collection of the hardware. Which hardware? Virtual hardware. Every machine has a virtual hardware. Where this hardware will come? That hardware it will take from the physical infrastructure server. So these are the EC2 instances. First chapter we are going to discuss and the instance types. So on-demand instance. So yesterday we launched one instance that is on-demand. So immediately I logged into the server, I launched one instance. Like we can have reserved instances and we have spot instances. So in our classes, we are going to discuss what is on demand, what are the benefits, so what are the disadvantages, what is reserved, what are the benefits, what are the disadvantages. And also we are going to cover here in our classes each and every chapter. So examination point of view, we are going to learn some tips. So I am showing you exam tips, EC2 exam tips. So EC2 instances, when we launched, whatever the examinations point of view, they will ask the question, terminate in protection. You must turn on termination protection. By default, when you terminate, the instance default EBS volume is to be deleted. So these things we are going to learn. So after launching instances, after learning all those things, so last part I will show you the uh, exam point of view. What are the tips we are going to use in the exam point of view? And also these things are useful for you to the interview point of view. So snapshots, so many things will come. So we are going to discuss everything. See, root volumes, non-root volumes, and the snapshots, how to encrypt your root volumes. So everything after launching the instances. So after learning how to launch, how to work with instances, at the end of the class, we are going to learning about the exam tips, what they are going to be asked in examination point of view. Same, whatever the examination point of view, you are going to write the exam. In interview point of view also, they will ask the same questions. So every chapter, we are going to discuss about those things. Next, Amazon EBS, Elastic Block Store. So remember, everybody having a laptop. In our laptops, you have an internal disk, that is the storage. So storage volumes are nothing but your hard disk. Like the same thing we are calling as in virtual environment, we are calling as virtual disks. In cloud environment, you are calling as a elastic block store. So elastic block store is nothing but a providing the storage to your instance. For example, I want to install Linux. I want to install Windows. So they are going to give the minimum requirements. To install the Linux OS, 8 GB disk space is required. To install the Windows Server, 30 GB disk space required. From where the disk space will come while you are launching the instance, already backend. So I will show you here. Already backend, they are going to assign the instance. You see, this is RHL8. Right click. I am going to settings here. See here, I can see hard disk 20 GB. This is the virtual disk. So at the time of installation of Linux, I selected this disk. This is see VM disk, VMDK. VM disk means virtual manager disk. Like that in cloud environment also, whenever you are launching the instance, so some space is required. To install the OS, you need space. So that is they are going to provide by default. By default, 80 GB of the space for Linux instance, 30 GB of the space Windows instance. But your Linux administrator or Windows Server administrator who are working with the Windows Server or Linux server, as a cloud administrator, they have to call to you. So I want to install Oracle database or some Microsoft SQL Server in Windows, whatever it may be. They will ask some space to you. So I required 500 GB of the space because I want to install some database. So default volume is root volume, either Windows or Linux. Operating system purpose, we are going to use like C drive. So that is a OS directory. D drive, E drive, external space. So as a cloud administrator, how can you create the volumes, EBS volumes? How can you attach the volumes to the instances which are running online? So external space, I am going to add because they need some space. The server is running, it is in production environment. So they need some space. Immediately they want to deploy one application. They need 500 GB space. As a cloud administrator, you have to create the volumes. So you have to attach the volumes for the particular related instance. So how to create the volumes, how to attach the volumes. So when you attach the volumes, OS level again you have to think. So you attached volume. So you have to call to Windows administrator or you are calling to Linux administrator. I attached 500 GB volume. Either it is attached or not. Just check it out and inform me. So as a Windows administrator, so you can check my new disk is added or not. How do you check? I will show you. Go to my computer, go to manage if it is Windows. So I want to know cloud administrator, he attached 500 GB volume. So I have to give the answer to him whether it is attached or not. Now go to disk management. Here it will show you whenever a new disk is added, whenever the new volume is added, it will show here whether it is attached or not. If it is not attached, we have to inform them. So I don't want to see, I cannot see any new disk. Please check it out whether you attached properly or not. So these are the real-time questions we have to give the answers in interview point of view. How do you check the volume in Windows? They will ask the question as a cloud administrator also. So you go to the Windows, My Computer, Manage, go to the disk management. Here I can understand which are new volumes, which are old volumes. We can easily understand. So these things we are going to do practically. See, disk 0, this is my already laptop hard disk. If anybody added any new disk, it will show disk 1. Like this, so as a Windows administrator, you can understand, oh, new volume is arrived. So we can call to 500 GB disk I am showing you here. So I can create one partition, whatever it may be. Now in Linux, how do you know whether the new disk is added or not? Now Linux, we have the command line mode. Go to terminal. So you can check how many available disks in Linux. There is a command is there. So fdisk-l. So here I can see I have only one disk /dev/sta. This is the logical device name of hard disk in Windows disk 0. So here see I created 13 partitions. So whenever they added a new disk, new volume, EBS volume, here I can see the name of the disk /dev/sdb. SDB means second disk, SDC third disk, STD. These logical device name conventions knowledge also required. So I am going to provide all the knowledge. So because I am teaching the last 20 years Windows Server Administration, Linux, Solaris, IBM X, HP Unix, VMware Administration. So I can compare, because when you go for interview, whatever the question are, they will ask you. So you have to ready to give. So every knowledge I am going to provide. That is the reason I am comparing. So you can easily understand. So these are the EBS volumes. And also, so I attached one volume to the Windows server or Linux server. So they install database. The database is going to be run. So every day the database is growing. So as a cloud administrator, you have to take the backup. So that is nothing but a snapshots. How to take the snapshots of EBS volumes? Because if their data is corrupted, so while they are working, if their database is corrupted, so their application is corrupted, as a cloud administrator, you have to keep backup. So then whenever they require, my database is corrupted, my volume is corrupted because of some commands, wrong commands I given, my entire database is corrupted. So you have the snapshot images. So when your database is corrupted, what is the date and time? So you can select the snapshot, you can restore the volumes. So those things we are going to discuss in this EBS volumes, elastic block store. Next to elastic IP address. So whatever the public IP assigned by the AWS is not permanent. So yesterday I logged into my Linux instance, that is public IP. So automatically every time the IP is going to be changed. But I am managing one web server. Every time my web server IP address is changing, how the clients they can log into my web server? They cannot log in because my IP address every day frequently is changing. That is the reason I have to assign one elastic IP address. So elastic IP address is nothing but in our administration task, static IP address, fixed IP address. Always assign static IP addresses for servers. By default, any operating system IP addressing protocol, if anybody asks you the question, you install Windows. For example, so many people in your laptops, you install Windows. What is the IP address of your Windows operating system? So many people, they cannot tell, because by default, you are connecting your wireless router. Automatically, that wireless router assigning one DHCP IP address. So that is automatic IP address. So everybody, we are using mobiles. So every mobile can get one IP address. You can check, go to settings, you can check your mobile settings. You have an IP address. So without IP address, you cannot connect internet. So that IP address, depending upon the location, will change. So if you are in Hyderabad, Amirpet, so your location is changed, Amirpet to Kokatpalli. Again, some other IP will come. So depending upon the location, the DHCP servers automatically assign the IP addresses to clients. But always assign the static IP addresses for servers. That is nothing but in cloud we are calling as a elastic IP address. Now I am going to show you my static IP address. So go to the Open Networking and Sharing Center. Go to adapter settings. So click on Ethernet card, click on properties. So TCP IPv4 Internet Protocol version 4. See, my Windows IP address is 192.168.0.120. So this IP addressing classes also we are going to discuss. This is my physical IP, static. It cannot be changed. See, previous obtain an IP address automatically. It is get the IP address from DHCP. So like this in Linux command line mode. So you can go to Linux operating system. I want to check the IP address. What is my system IP? So I have a command line mode, no graphical mode here. ifconfig 192.168.0.20. So this is the same concept in cloud computing we are calling as a elastic IP address. But by getting the elastic IP address in cloud computing, that is chargeable. For practice purpose, one day, just 5 minutes, we are going to check the elastic IP address, how to assign to the instance. So instance means nothing but operating system, already I told you. So Linux operating system I launched. I want to assign permanent IP. So elastic IP address. Then I can open my website by using this IP address. So, but this is chargeable. But practice purpose, we are going to see practically how to assign the elastic IP address. Next, AWS identity and access management is the concept. Who knows? For example, I am telling you, who knows Windows Server administration? Who knows Linux Server administration or Solaris Server administration? They can understand. Assigning the system administrator privileges to the normal users is nothing but a IAM concept in cloud environment. The same concept in Windows Server we are calling as a delegation control. In Linux we are calling as a sudo users. In Solaris we are calling as a RBAC, role-based access control. So for example, you joined as a cloud administrator first time in the company. They are not going to give the root privileges. So what are the root privileges? I will show you. So go to this AWS management console. How you are going to log in directly every day, I'm going to show you. I am opening AWS management console. Log back in here. See here. See root user. I am logging as a root user every day. I can do any task, any service. I can configure, I can delete, I can do anything. Root is the administrator account. See below you can see IAM user. So as a root administrator, I can give some privileges. I can create some user accounts. For example, ABC, Ravi, Ram, Raj. So EC2 instances, I give permissions one user. S3 storage, one user. EBS, one user. So I am dividing the roles. I am dividing the privileges. I can assign 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. So real times, no, you are not going to do all the services working. They have to assign the privileges to you. So that is nothing but a identity and access management. Simply in interview, you can know simple word, assigning the administrator privileges to normal users, nothing but a IAM in cloud environment. Windows, delegation control, Linux sudo users, Solaris RBAC. So introduction to AWS identity and access management. What are the features? And multi-factor authentication. So MFA. So multi-factor authentication is nothing but, for example, so while I am transferring the money from my ICICI account, I am giving my username, my password, even it will ask one-time password. So whenever you are transferring the money, if I given my original username, original password, also second authentication code, it will ask you. So please enter your OTP, one-time password. Like in IAM, so you can create user account. You can configure multi-factor authentication. Even if they give their username and password properly also, so two-way authentication it will send, two codes it will send. If they give that codes only, they can log into the server. So that much of security is available in our cloud computing. So as a root administrator, AWS root administrator, you can create the users. You can enable this. By default, it is not going to be enabled. By default, they can log in whatever the password we given, but you can also enable this multi-factor authentication through your mobile. You can scan our QR code. So every time you have to log into your server. Every time our authentication will be changed. Managing permissions and policies, how to assign, how to give the permissions, read only or read write or delete permissions, or only viewing the information, like any permissions as your wish. You can give the users. You can share the account name and password. They can log into AWS management console. Whatever you given the permissions, that much of work only they can do. So managing users and use cases. So how to create IAM groups, how to create the roles, how to assign the roles to the users, how to assign the policies to the roles, everything we are going to discuss. Next, Amazon S3. See, this is also a storage. So Elastic Block Store is also a storage. Just now we discussed. Amazon S3 also a storage. But what is the difference between EBS and S3 storage? They will ask the question in interview. EBS, Elastic Block Storage, they are calling. S3 also storage, they are calling. So EBS means block level. Block level means 1 terabyte partition I am going to assign to you. As your wish, you can do the partitions. 250 GB, 250 GB, 250 GB, 250 GB, or 500 GB, 500 GB. Like that, you can allocate the partitions. You can do as your wish physical partitions. S3 storage is object level storage. Object level means, for example, I have a D drive. So D drive. So right click on this D drive, I can share it. So already it is formatted state. So I can share to the network. Everybody, they can store the data in my D drive. This is object level storing. In D drive, what is there? So I have some folders are there, files are there. Like this is object level storage. The same concept in cloud computing we are calling as a S3 storage. This is called file system level storage. So NFS file system we have in Linux, DFS in Windows Server Administration. So in cloud computing, we are calling as S3 storage. I have a space is there 500 GB. So you can store your folders and files. You are not going to delete the divide the partition. It is not possible. So that is the Amazon S3 storage. So S3 benefits, use cases, key features. What are the storage classes we have? What are the pricing? Pricing is there. Up to 5 GB is the free of the cost. You can upload your data. So if you cross 5 GB limit, depending upon the data size, so you have to pay the money. And also you can host your website. For example, whenever you want to configure a website, what you require, generally they will ask the question. For example, I am using Windows Server. I want to configure one website, www.durgasoft.com website I want to configure. So I need operating system. So Windows Server I need. So Windows Server, we have a concept is called IIS, Internet Information Service. So I can enable IIS, then I can configure website. So I am using Linux. So Linux operating system, I have a Apache web server is there. So I can go through the Apache web server. I can configure one website. But these websites are operating system based. Windows, IIS, Linux, Apache softwares are required to configure the website. But without having the background infrastructure and platform, if you have the website, already developed website, just you have to host your website through Amazon S3 storage without requiring any background operating system. Serverless deployment. This is called serverless hosting. So there is no server background, but by using Amazon S3, you can host your website. So that is we are going to see practically. So I developed one website, but I need some operating system to host that. But no need to get any operating systems. You can go through the cloud computing. You can go to the Amazon S3 storage. You can upload your website files. You can access your website. So simply you can access. So that is we are going to see everything practically, different storage classes. So infrequent access data, frequently accessed data. So everything we are going to discuss. So Amazon Glacier, this is also a storage, but this is infrequent data. I can keep on some different place. But for example, say every 1 year, some data I can access only 1 or 2 times. So 1 or 2 times means very irregular. When I require, I can access the data. That type of infrequent data you can put on Amazon Glacier. So they will ask the question, how to move your infrequent data infrequent access data from Amazon S3 storage to Amazon Glacier. So we are going to discuss in this class only how to move your infrequent data. So for example, I can set, so after 7 days, after 10 days, so this data automatically move to the Glacier. So automatically it will move. So afterward, whenever you want to get the data, again you can go to the Glacier. I want to retrieve the data because I need to access the data. Again, you can take back. So these things we are practically we are going to see. Next, what is VPC? This is the backbone of any cloud computing. In Microsoft Azure, you can call as a VPN, virtual private network. In AWS environment, we are calling as a virtual private cloud. So what is private network? What is public network? So for example, your laptop in our home. So our all, maybe we have 2 mobiles, 4 mobiles, 5 mobiles, and we have 2 laptops. Everybody we are using internet. So we are a private network. So you can check your IP address, you can have the private IP address, but you are accessing public network. How you are accessing? Through gateway. What is your gateway? Your gateway is nothing but a router. Your Wi-Fi router is a gateway. So through Wi-Fi router, you are accessing internet. If I switch off your Wi-Fi router, you cannot access internet. If you switch off your Wi-Fi in your mobile, you cannot access internet. What is Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi is a internet gateway. So I am in cloud computing. My company, they are implementing the private networks and public network on the cloud. So how to configure your own VPC? How to configure your private network servers? How to configure your public network servers? What is default VPC? So yesterday we launched instance. So I am not selecting any VPC. By default, Amazon cloud people, they given the default VPC. What is non-default VPC? You are going to configure as your wish. You can configure your non-default VPC. So how to configure this virtual private cloud? Here we have so many concepts are there. So network address translation protocol. So your private network means, remember, all the critical applications, critical database servers, I don't want to put in public environment. I have to keep private network. Nobody can enter into my private network. I cannot enter into public network. But sometimes your database servers has to be up to date. In that particular point of scenario, maybe Saturday or Sunday, you are going to update your database server. Up to date you have to keep. In that particular point of time, as a VPC administrator, I am going to give the 1 hour or 2 hour or 3 hour or 10 hours time. So this particular of time, I am giving the time to you. You can connect your public network, means internet. You can update your servers. So after that, again, I can break the communicating public network. How to do that in cloud computing, we are going to discuss here. So private network, public network, by default they can communicate, but to private network system cannot access internet. How to give the internet access to your public network? So we have to create the private subnets, public networks, routing we have to we are going to create, and internet gateway we are going to provide. So everything you have to configure. So that is the reason I am telling you this is the backbone of VPC, because in cloud environment, not only you and me, so many customers are there, number of people are there. Out of that much of members, how can manage my secure network? So I have to set up my own VPC. I have to set up my own virtual private cloud. Nobody can enter into my cloud. I cannot enter into their clouds. So we are going to discuss here. Then auto scaling, high availability, incremental or decremental scaling. So high availability, for example, yesterday already I explained you, there is a Flipkart website is there. Every Wednesday they are going to give the discounts. That day so many hits will come to the server. Maybe if the server capacity is not that much of hits, so it will down, it will stuck. So what you have to do? Immediately physical environment I cannot do anything, so maximum capacity is reached. But in cloud environment, automatically it create another instance, same configuration, same application. Immediately whatever the highest requests are coming, so it is route to the another server. So this is nothing but auto scaling. So depending upon how much capacity, automatically it will calculate. And also we are going to set up, so we are going to give the priority. If the server cross 70% of CPU resources, create another instance, automatically it will create. So we have to set up everything. If physical memory is cross 75%, launch another instance or add another 7 GB space. Like this, we are going to configure auto scaling. So this is also elastic load balancing. Automatically distributes incoming application traffic across multiple targets such as Amazon EC2 instances, containers, IP address, and lambda functions. See, high availability cluster, load balancing cluster. Remember, who knows physical environment, they can understand. High availability cluster, load balancer cluster. High availability cluster means if one server is down, automatically another server will come into the online. So depending upon how many nodes you keep in the cluster, that much of nodes will be power on automatically. So we are going to do practically all these things. So load balancing cluster, if there is a heavy load on one server, so automatically balance the load between the 2 servers or 3 servers. We have to set up, you have to select how many servers you want to require for load balancing purpose. 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, minimum how many, maximum how many, you have to select. So we are going to see load balancing means it will takes the load and it will balance the load on particular how many how many nodes you selected. High availability means if that is down suddenly, maybe some problem, network problems, whatever it may be, what happened, so many customers are accessing my server, it is down suddenly, so they are going to be lost. So I can configure high availability cluster. If one server is down, power on other 2 servers. So these 2 things we are going to discuss: auto scaling and elastic load balancer. So Amazon CloudWatch, monitoring the services, monitoring your AWS resources, as well the applications that you run on AWS. For example, monitoring resources. Go to here, task manager, you are monitoring Acrobat Reader, how much resource CPU utilization it will use, Google Chrome, how much it will is using, Microsoft Word, how much utilizing. This is nothing but a monitoring. So like in AWS environment, I can have number of servers. So how to monitor each and everything? So you can configure CloudWatch. So for example, if it is Linux, I can use stop command. So I can monitor everything here. See, everything I can monitor: total task, running task, sleeping task, how much memory I am having, how much utilization, how much idle percentage my server, each process is using how much virtual memory, how much physical memory, sharing memory, CPU percentage memory. This is nothing but a monitoring. So in cloud environment, as a cloud administrator, you have to configure CloudWatch, monitoring your cloud resources, maybe EC2 instance resources, or physical memory resources, or network resources, or disk resources. You have to watch, you have to generate the reports. So automatically you can also configure SNS, simple notification service. When my CPU resources is greater than 65%, send me a mail or send me a message. Automatically you can get the messages. But for that we have to register our email ID, SNS, simple notification service. So we are going to discuss how to configure CloudWatch. So route 53 is nothing but a DNS server in cloud environment. AWS cloud DNS server is nothing but route 53. So without a DNS server, so DNS means domain name system, you cannot access your websites. For example, we can have millions of websites. Do you know the IP addresses of website? What is the Google IP? What is the Gmail IP address? What is the Flipkart IP address? What is the yahoo.com IP address? We cannot know. But you can access websites because of DNS server background. When you type name, it resolves with IP address, it opens your website. Now I am going to show you. So if you connect to internet, go to your command prompt, give the command nslookup. I am typing www.flipkart.com. See, it resolves with IP address. See, flipkart.com IP address is 163.53.76.86. www.gmail.com. So my Gmail IP address is 142.252.60.250.67.69. www.yahoo.com. So 202.160. 165.107.50 and 202.165.107.49. So if I give 100 IP address like this, so this IP address Gmail, this IP address Google, this IP address Yahoo, this IP address Flipkart, you cannot remember with names. Sorry, you cannot remember with numbers. So you can easily remember with names. How it is possible? Because of DNS server. So in Windows, we have a DNS server concept is there. In Linux, we are going to configure DNS server. Same DNS server we are going to configure in cloud environment. That is nothing but a Route 53. So Route 53 is high available and scalable cloud domain name system, DNS server. So CloudFront is nothing but a content delivery network offered by Amazon Web Services. Content delivery network provides a globally distributed network of proxy servers which cache content such as web videos or other bulky media locally to the consumers, improving the access. For example, I want to download one video. Maybe the server physically located in Australia. So daily you are accessing internet. You are logging to Gmail. Where Gmail server is there, you cannot assume. Maybe that is US or UK or Singapore. So if the server is in Australia, so when I are trying to download, the request will go. So many requests will go to the Australia server. So it will take some bit of the time to download my video. That is the reason what I am going to configure. I am going to configure CloudFront from India. What is the nearest country is there? Singapore, for example. So there they can keep one server. So whatever the videos you are downloading, so it will keep into the local server, Singapore. From there you can download. So it is very near to you. So content delivery network provides a easy access, improving access or speed for downloading your content. That is how to configure we are going to discuss. Next, Elastic Beanstalk. With Elastic Beanstalk, you can quickly deploy and manage your applications in the AWS cloud without having to learn about the infrastructure that runs those applications. For example, you deployed one Java applications, but I deployed some other application. So I don't know which infrastructure required. Networking I don't know, storage I don't know, platform operating system I don't know. But when you deploy your application, automatically the cloud will read that application depending upon that application's requirements. So it provides network. Automatically it start the instance, either requirement if it is related Microsoft, it opens the Microsoft server. If it is related to Linux, it launch the Linux instance. Like that, automatically deploy your applications without having the knowledge on your infrastructure and platform. This is nothing but a Elastic Beanstalk. So for that we have so many uh, codes I downloaded applications. So we are going to see practically how to deploy it. So automatically it will create auto scaling, automatically it will create load balancer, everything it will do. So we have to just deploy the application. Requirements purpose, so automatically cloud people will do everything background. So simple queue service, Amazon simple queue service is a full messaging queue service. So for example, one serial number is there. For example, on Airtel 98490, that is the serial. For 98490, starting with 98490, I have to send a festival offer. So if you recharge with 200 rupees, you can get extra 500 MB space. That much of message is there. So at a time, I can send thousands of messages. So immediately 1000 at a time it will not send. So they are going to manage the queue. So you are going to set up here simple queue service. So depending upon the importance of the messages, so you have to make it simple queue service server. We have to set up service. So cloud formation is nothing but so I developed my organization have the complete cloud environment. I have EC2 instances, I have storage, I have network, I have auto scaling, I have load balancers. So everything I set up. So same setup. For example, in Mumbai region, I have a complete setup is there. The same setup which is available in Mumbai region, I want to put in US region because I am going to start some business on US also. So I can take one template. I can take template. Template is nothing but image. That image I can deploy in US. Again, no need to configure instances from beginning onwards. No need to configure storage, no need to configure auto scaling, no need to set up VPC. Everything I can take one template. That template I can deploy on some other region. Automatically, whatever the setup in Mumbai is there, will come into the other region. That is nothing but a cloud formation. So AWS Cloud Formation is a service that gives developers and businesses an easy way to create a collection of related AWS and third-party resources and provision them in orderly and predictable fashion, how you wish. So you can do that one in different regions. Next, relation database. How to manage the database services on cloud environment. This is the Amazon people's own database, relation database services. And we are going to discuss about DynamoDB, that is non-SQL database service. So these are the services we are going to discuss in our entire Amazon AWS Solutions Architect class. So if anybody having any doubts, please ask me. See,
Hello. Yeah,
yeah,
this
Harish,
is good.
tell me. Harish, tell me.
Actually, this is a hard time to me. Can you reschedule class at 8 o'clock?
8
Evening
o'clock.
8 o'clock. Yeah.
So
This
8
is a
o'clock,
hard
I
time.
have the Linux batch is going on. Morning times is possible to you? Morning, which times you?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to office 8 o'clock, okay, starting. And
Okay,
my office time is 9 to 6, okay.
okay,
Uh,
9 to 6. Okay,
9 to 6. If 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 1 to, okay, that time is okay for me.
night or morning?
Morning, daytime, 9 to 6, in between
Daytime.
9 to 5.
So now my classes, I am telling you, 8:30 I have a Linux class, 9:30 Linux class, 10:30
Okay,
I have a AWS class. Already it is middle of the uh, class, that is S3 storage is completed. 10:30
okay,
AWS, middle of the class. 11:30 again I have Linux class. These four classes morning. Afternoon
okay.
3:30 I have another Windows Server administration class. 6 o'clock this is AWS. Next 7 o'clock MCSE. Again 8 o'clock Linux class. This is now schedule.
Okay. Actually, this is a very hard time to me. I came early, 1 hour early from office.
Yeah. Okay.
Actually, upcoming batch any is there?
Will
And
come. Before 10 o'clock you record. Morning 9:30 Linux patch is going to be complete. 9:30 to 10:30, is it possible to you?
yeah, okay, that's fine for me. When will you
9:30
start
to
that?
10. So I have said tomorrow, day after tomorrow, Linux patch will be complete. Maybe next week we are going to start AWS on 9:30.
Okay, okay. Thank you, thank you,
Then I will
thank you.
inform them. I will call to you. Okay.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is a
Thank
great
you.
honor.
Yeah. 100%. We
Actually,
are
it's
going to
very
start.
hard time to me. Every day I'm coming 1 hour
Yeah.
early from office.
It's going to be tension. Some tension when you come to the home after completion of your work.
Okay, without completion, I can't able to come
Yeah.
leave the office. That is the reason.
Yeah. I understand. So we are going to start 9:30 batch. No problem. They are going to intimate you. I will inform them.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Harish.
So
So is there any
9:30 is morning, right?
morning only?
Okay, I will also join that one only, sir.
Yeah.
9:30 morning, 9:30. Narendra here.
Yes, Narendra. Okay, 9:30 we are going to start. So day after tomorrow, Linux will be complete. Then we are going
Okay.
to start. So I will talk to them. Maybe tomorrow I try to complete the Linux patch. Otherwise, we are going to start day after tomorrow onwards. Okay.
Yes, sir. 9:30 morning, it's okay for me also. 6, it's hard to plan
Okay.
this one.
Yes, no problem. I will make it to intimation to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
So is there anybody having any questions? Please ask me.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
So what is NSX in VM?
What is it? Sachin? Narendra?
Ye- No, Sachin here. So what is
Sachin.
NSX? NSX concept in VMware? I have heard about this NSX
NXX in VMware or cloud environment?
in VMware. VMware. So it is
That is
related to some network.
that is related to network. So private networking we are going to configure in separate networking. Like for example, in CCNA, you can have some what the routing protocols. Do you know? Do you hear about routing protocols?
Yes, sir. I have heard about it.
So the same concept
So,
in virtualization, we have the NXX concept is there.
okay, okay. Okay,
So
sir. Okay.
CDP protocol will come, Cisco Discovery Protocol, CDP will come into the virtual environment. So that is the advanced is NXX. So they
Okay,
are
sir.
going
Okay.
to
Thank you.
set up the network solutions.
All right,
Okay.
sir. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Next, anybody having questions? Is there any questions from anybody? Tomorrow, what's our evening batch, 6 o'clock batch? We are going to start the first class AWS introduction and what are the instance types like reserved instances, on-demand instances. Like first class tomorrow we are going to start. So with VMware, I am going to give the knowledge on base level. So everything I will compare you. If it is Windows, how it is. If it is Linux, how it is. Interview point of view, so many questions they will ask. So only cloud computing means launching the instance only. But you have to have the knowledge on everything. So everything I will give the knowledge.
Yeah, is it compulsory knowledge on Linux? Hello.
Linux also it is in my way it is compulsory. Linux knowledge also compulsory or Windows Server knowledge. If you have either Linux or Windows, if you know Windows Server, you can go to this. If you know Linux Server, you can go to this because whenever you are putting the experience, you don't put experience only on cloud. Without knowing the knowledge on Linux servers, without knowing the knowledge on Windows servers, how did you work on cloud? They will ask the question to you. You cannot give the answer. So many people, so some people they can directly they logged in, they can join as AWS admins. They come back again. They have to learn Linux or Windows servers, compulsory. But you have to work with the servers. That is the reason in my
Okay, sir.
classes parallelly they will join for Linux course and AWS both they will join. So your resume weightage will improve. So I don't tell if you learn AWS compulsory, you can do no need to Linux, no need to Windows. I don't tell. So openly I am telling you, Linux is also compulsory. So many students parallelly they are attending my Linux administration and AWS cloud administration. Then you can put the resume. I am having 1 year or 2 years of Linux server administration plus now I am working as a cloud administrator. Then you can get the good package. Okay. Is any other questions? Is there any questions? Because I am going to end the session because now I have to log into Windows Server Administration class. So tomorrow we are going to start the first class, AWS. So evening 6 to 7. So if anybody they want to attend morning 9:30, so you are getting mails. The link will come from 9:30 link. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. Tomorrow we are going to connect.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.